Well, it's time to come back to these cells. You remember I was collecting these cells, and they are from recreational devices, disposable ones, but the cells, although they're normally disposed of, are very reusable. So I was creating a battery pack, and if you remember, I used this BMS to add batteries to it. I just want to show you some extra things I've been doing with these batteries of late. So you see I've got some little connectors there. And what I'm doing is all my batteries and all my little chargers, I'm adding these little connectors onto it so that I can swap and change and charge these separately and play about with them. I've got some more cells here that probably need charging that I've just taken out of things. And I need to put these little connectors on it. Now what I've done is all the voltage from the batteries I've always used. I'll call that the male one. It might not be. It's normally the metal bits that are the male, but who knows? Who knows? Anyway, let's call this the plug. Let's call this the socket. So I'm using the plug to come out of the power each time, and the socket to receive the power. Of course, the power works differently on this, but let's not talk about it. But a battery's got to plug into that. So I'm always putting a plug on the battery and a socket on whatever the battery plugs into. So let's take this one here. I've just taped it up as it came out because I didn't have time to check it at the time. So let's just untape this to begin with. So what I'm trying to do with all these batteries, let's just grab hold of that one there. What I'm trying to do with all of them is wire them up exactly the same way. So if you see here, I've got the black there that curves around to there, and then the red over that side. So I can maybe reuse some of these if I need to. So let's put the red on first. Let's pull a little bit off that. So I'm setting these up all about the same size whenever I do one of these. So let's get the other one set up at the same time, and then I don't have to worry about measuring it. Then however I do connect these, they'll always look neat, especially because the idea is I'm going to put some of them in a battery as opposed to just using the individual cells. So I'll just tin the end of these. Right, so let's remove the red wire off that bit there. And I'll set the red onto this. I'm trying to always solder onto the tags of these and not actually onto the battery to save the battery getting in any way hot. So let's tape that bit up first. I'll try and tape this up as I go along, which is hopefully a safe way of doing it. So I'll go one directly over that terminal, and then I'll do one round the bottom to hold that in. Of course, this video, as all my others with these cells, is purely for entertainment. You can have me droning on in my slightly diluted Brummie accent to help you go to sleep at night, to watch me do it and watch me spontaneously combust into flames so that you don't have to. Okay, so that's got that one on, and then I'll curve this round and I think I'm just going to put a little bit more solder on the end of that. Okay, then I can just turn the black around and solder it onto there. Okay, so to be safe again, I'm going to do the same thing. I mean, this is generally not safe, but I'm trying to take precautions as I'm going along. And just I can pop that on, then I'll go around it again. So I'm using the captain to hold the captain tape on at the edges to stop that coming off, but also to hold the wires on as well to stop them pulling off. So that's one of my little battery packs now. So the next thing I'll do is just pop that into there and put that on charge and make sure that that's charged. That one's charged up. I think that had quite a bit of charge on it, didn't it? But it still needs doing. So I'll get that done with this one as well. And well, actually I've got 3 now, but I'll do this one while I'm there, and I won't film that though. I'll come back to you. Okay, so that's sorted those out. I've now got a few batteries that I can plug into this device, and some of them are already on charge. So one of the things I want to do is see how this balances, and I've got this little gadget here which is a cell balancer. So you've probably seen me using this cable quite a lot for various things, and I buy these, I make my own jumper leads out of them. You see, I buy them to get the DuPont connectors, and these are all individual, but they're quite useful to use as plugs. So what I've done, to plug into this, you need like a strip of these, but if you lay these together and run a bead of super glue down them, you can get them to stick in a strip. And I like this because it means you can make it whatever size you want. So the idea is you start off the most negative, which will just be blue on this, and then you move up each cell. And so you can put this on a battery pack, maybe of 8 or 9 banks. You can do it, and it tells you how well it's being balanced. So this is an ISDT BatteryGO. So what I'm going to do is add this balancing wire to this. I'll do it so it comes out from the side somehow, so that I can plug the device in at the side so it doesn't get in the way of the actual output of it. I'll just tin these wires as well. Now the only problem I find with these, because these are made to be IDC cables, so insulation displacement cables, they don't take solder that well, and I've got a feeling these are aluminium inside with a little bit of copper as well, so they're designed to have these terminals crushed onto them, not to be used as wiring, but not the best wire. But maybe it's because I buy the cheap wire. In fact, I'm going to use some of my better, more juicier solder. It's Altai solder from years and years ago. I'm glad I've still got it because it still works. Right, so let's solder this on. The darkest cable there is the 0 volt, so that's the blue on this wire. Okay, then the next wire along, which is going to be the green, that has to be the next voltage, which is this 4.2 volts over here. The next one is the 8 volts, so that will be the yellow on this wire. Right, and then finally the last wire goes to the 12. And let's just plug some of these in. So making sure these will only go in one way, but I always like to check the polarity first, so make sure red to red is on there. Alright, so this should be giving some voltage out. Let's just check that. Alright, yeah, 12 volts, so that's good. It means this BMS is working, it's doing its job, but this is my monitoring for it. So making sure I get the polarity right, so the most negative always goes to the top. There's a little thing on here, don't know if you can see that. There's a little minus on there, so let's plug this in and see whether it screams. Aha! Okay, so can we see that? Alright, so you see this is now telling me about the health of the whole thing. So it's 12.33 volts comes out of this, but it's got each individual cell in there as well, so that makes it really useful. So cell 3 is lower than the others, that's 4.058. If I pull this out, I can make sure it's the right cell. Yeah, that definitely is. So let's try this cell. So make sure it goes in the right way. So this is a different cell, as it's got a different voltage on it. Right, so that's 3.7. And you see the others are dancing about now I've put that in. So I don't know whether that's because it's trying to balance, it's trying to take the charge from that and add it into that. So I'm able to use this to monitor my little battery pack. So this is a little adapter that I've made, and I've got a couple of those, which allows me to plug 2 cells into one of these slots, which then makes this system have a bit more power for that 12 volts. And then we'll see how we can use this BMS in another project. I'm going to use it for my Nixie tubes, which I haven't spoken about for ages either. But I've got plans for my Nixie tubes and for my Nixie tube tester. So if you're still interested in the Nixie tubes, sorry it's been a while. I've had issues with the PCBs that I made. But I think I've got that solved now. So I'm going to get this BMS set up. I'm going to get this into a nice little battery pack, all from these reclaimed cells. Get it charged up, get it all working, make sure it's okay using this monitoring thing, and then use this as a power bank for something else. So if you enjoyed this video, thank you. Please thumbs up if you can. Please subscribe as well, so if you want to see the next installment of this. Sorry again, as I say, it's been a while. And apart from that, all I can say is bye.